the curator's financial authority, limiting those purchases to $300. And then because of the expansion of the board size, there's a revision in the bylaws to the quorum requirements needed for the organization.
That, under Article 5, that's a new article, quorum. It states one half of the members of the board shall constitute a quorum.
So it would be 5 versus where it was 4 before.
Yeah, previously.
That's a 9 is 4.5.
Yeah, but they
It
always.
would have to be 5.
Okay, I just asked.
Okay,
We have to have 5 there in order to.
I
to make any
understand,
decisions.
I understand that completely.
Yeah.
Roger, on Article 3, Section A, where it says not more than 9 members. Could we not remove that not more of, and just put it 9 members, consist of 9 members, so we know what we're dealing with as a council?
But sometimes they have empty seats.
It still counts. When you go to a quorum, and I happened to bring, material that I got down at a training session with the Attorney General at WSU. And it defines a quorum as, it says a majority is one more than half of the membership when counting the number of members. Vacant positions must be counted as well. For example, if a school board has 7 members, but there are 2 vacancies, the majority remains at 4. That's one more than half. So it doesn't quite set when it says one half of the members of the board shall constitute a quorum either. It needs to be one more than half, and that would be 5 members.
Well, we don't count.
But we're looking at Article 3, Section A, Roger, where it says not more than 9 members. And I'm saying, why can't we just say this board shall consist of 9 members?
I'm not sure what the advantage of that is. 9 is our limit.
Well, you're asking to increase from 7 to 9, so I'm saying, let's just make it in plain language that it will be 9.
Councilor Herbal will be glad to share that back with the board,
Okay.
and they can decide at their next meetings.
And then you also need to share our Article 5, it says one half of the members. They need to understand that they go by the total membership, 9, and 1 over half is a quorum, which would be 5.
We can make note of your concerns.
Thank
Is
you.
it the desire of this governing body to send that back to this board for reconsideration?
Well, I think it should be. I mean,
And I'll abstain on that. I'll abstain on that because I'm part of the board, so whatever.
Well, you can still give your opinion, I mean, you're representing the board tonight.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your opinion of that.
So when we say we want to expand it to 9 members, now that we only have 7 yet, till we add 2 more, we're always gonna have to have 5 there. Is that what she's saying?
that's correct. It goes on the total membership, even though you may have 2 vacant chairs.
Whatever, I don't care. I'm just letting her know.
I think these rules were set up by the Attorney General's office, and I think we ought to follow them.
Why don't you take it back to them then, Roger, if the rest of the council agrees, ask them if they wish to change it. We'll bring it back to the next meeting for approval.
Well, it will not be our next meeting because they meet once a month.
Okay.
We meet twice a month.
We only meet once a month.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, 2 different.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. It'll be in another month before we can bring it back to the council.
Okay. Any further discussion? Number 12, discussion of code 1-301.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get those in the packet before. Would you take one and pass them on? 1, 2, 3, 4. these are some ordinances and codes that we just need to clean up and get corrected. Because some of them are pretty serious. Yeah, just go clearly around, Roger, each one. If you have two, go ahead and give Chip one, because she's gonna need one too. Thank you. In front of you are the city codes, state statutes, charter ordinances, and a page from the employee's handbook, all referring to the fact that the duties and compensations of yearly appointed employees shall be specified by ordinance. This was discussed on April the 9th at the council meeting. Charter Ordinance 17-15-1 is the latest ordinance and clearly states in section 5, and if you guys want to turn and look at the ordinances, we'll go through, that would be fine, that the council shall by ordinance specify the duties of the compensation of the office holder. Not only does this ordinance in code 1-301 make it clear that compensation and duties must be set by ordinance. In this chapter ordinance, the city exempted itself from state statute 14-201 and 14-204, but failed to make inapplicable the city requirement of state statute 14-205, that all elected and appointed officers other than the attorney, judge, law enforcement officers shall be qualified electors of the city. City Ordinance 11-501 was replaced by City Charter Ordinance 17-1501, without any references to making state statute 14-205 being inapplicable. Since the city administrator is clearly listed as being one of the city officers, a non-resident is not allowed to hold that position, and the city clerk is required by statute to notify the council that that position is vacant. While searching statutes and ordinance, I also found State Statute 12-3007, which allows cities to opt to publish summaries of ordinances instead of a full ordinance. City Code 1-111 fails to endorse that option because the option existed prior to the code's adoption and clearly states that no ordinance shall be enforced until the ordinance, not just the summary of it, be published. The city by its own action has chosen to restrict itself from exercising the summary option. This could bring into question the effectiveness of any ordinance summarized instead of published. I'm bringing these violations, at least what I believe are violations, to the attention of the council to see how we should handle them. City Code Financial set these charter ordinances and city codes up in August 4th, 2014. And I'm wondering if we should request City Code Financial LLC to check the ordinance, city code, state statutes for accuracy, so corrections to the ordinance and codes can be made if necessary. Thank you. And I found these very interesting because you really have to track them back and find all this stuff, but this is what I found. And I'm thinking that we really need to make the correction.
I have a question here on the 2016 statute. Provided that nothing herein shall authorize the appointment of non-residents of the state. So when are they talking about city and when are they talking about state?
Okay, it says, to start with, it says qualifications of officers,
Where are you
appointments,
reading?
205, 14-205.
I'm just looking at the 2016 statute.
But it states, all officers elected or appointed shall be qualified electors of the city. And I just brought these to your attention because I think they need to be corrected. And I also found one other one that needed to be corrected, but I didn't add that in there because it was the cost of the court cost from municipal court. We had corrected 3 of them, I think, last year. And Tiff, you might write that down. It's number 4, 91-9, or 91-1, excuse me. And it says the court cost is $11.
That's the tech fee.
That's what?
That's the tech fee amount. I guess I'm not sure what the 491
Okay,
you're
it's
referring to.
ordinance Charter Ordinance, 4, 91-1.
Okay, I'll look at it.
And it just simply says that such person shall be assessed the amount of $11. So how do you guys what do you guys wanna do with this? How do you wanna act on it? I think it needs to be corrected somehow.
Well, I think we need to have our city attorney go over it, you know, get her opinion and see what she says.
I'd like an opportunity to look at it too, I'm not
Me
gonna
too.
sit here and try to digest this
Yeah.
Okay, well,
in a couple minutes.
maybe we
in the
can just
meeting.
put it on the table and bring it back up when Susan's had a chance, and
Sure,
and Chris, since he's an attorney, he can take a look at it too.
sure.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention, cause it needs to be taken care of.
No, we take care of it, if it's necessary. I don't know which way how we need to go about taking care of it. That's why I'd like for the city attorney to look at it, and then like Chris, I'd like to have an opportunity to read what it is we're talking about and digest it.
Okay, would you pass that on to Susan, please? Give that to Susan, so she
Okay.
can review it.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, we'll table discussion of number 12 to the next meeting. Any further discussion in regards to that before we move on? Item number 13, discussion regarding zoning administrator processes and functions. Roger?
Okay. We're looking to council for some direction. The interim zoning administrator resigned his position. So currently, we do not have anyone that council has appointed or designated to take care of our biggest concern is the routine processes. We have 2 building permits now that have received approval from our building inspector, but the process requires a zoning review to be completed before we move ahead. In the interim, the position's been posted, it'll be advertised in the upcoming newspapers, trying to see if there's someone that wants to work as the zoning administrator, but, and I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Jones, who also is, because the chairman resigned, Terry's the vice chair in charge. We were trying to brainstorm to figure out what the best recommendation to council would be. So we're really left with, they're an advisory board, ultimately all the governing body elected would hold the final say in situations. I don't know if you want us to hold permit applications until you all can meet to approve them. I think from a customer service standpoint, that's an extreme disservice. We could have them referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission, who meet once a month. Is that correct, Terry?
Usually, yes.
So, again, from a customer service standpoint, not sure if that is the right thing that we wanna do. The other situation would be just to designate someone that you're going to grant authority to review permits and applications in light of our current zoning rules, and approve or deny. And then if there's something that can't readily be identified, then I guess the recommendation would be to have it go to planning and zoning for their direction. But we're looking for, from council, some direction. We have, again, customers that are waiting for answers, and because staffing isn't in place.
Terry, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. I was looking at this today even more, and I think it does call out specifically in the regulations 3 business days is when some applications are supposed to be addressed by the zoning administrator. So I definitely understand that. I don't think that city council should be bothered with every single, building permit or sign application or anything, so, I also agree with that understanding. I do, so yeah, I do think an individual should be, handling these for the sake of you guys, of us, and for the customer, the citizens. And looking at the job, the job posting, good luck finding anybody, that meets those requirements or would be willing to do that. So my hopes in that regard are kind of dim. I would like to see, somebody in that position that's a little bit qualified. I think it would help us retain a zoning administrator longer than a few months. But I'm not sure on how that goes. So, you know, for an interim, that's all fine. What I would also like to see to make things easier on you guys, in the state statutes, it calls out that we can hire, try to hire, consultants and that kind of stuff, but then it's subject to council's approval for the funding for that.
Right.
So I'd like to suggest that you just task planning and zoning with that job of trying to find somebody, and then we could find somebody and basically make the recommendation to you guys. The Rogers won't have to worry about it, you guys won't have to worry about it, we can go through it, you'll get the final say in the budgeting process, and we could work that way. But that won't help with the interim, we'll have to have somebody now to take care of the ongoing problems.
Do you have anyone in mind?
No, I don't.
Not you?
You mean like for interim or for long term?
Yeah.
Interim, do you feel qualified to do it?
I think that I could do it. I mean, I've done it before, but I don't want to. I don't know if I'll have the time, especially with my travel schedule for work. But we do have other members on the commission that I think that would be qualified to do it, probably more so than me. My only concern there is going to be losing quorums, like you were just talking about. I think in the year and a few months I've been on the commission so far, we haven't had a problem with quorums, but I don't want to jinx anything. So I don't know. That's a good question, it's tough. Just trying to think of people to fill John Wheeler's position is difficult. So if we have to do two, now what? You know, I'd love to make Margo do it. I mean, when you look at the requirements of the zoning administrator, you're interpreting the regulations and you're saying yes or no. And at the end of the day, if the planning and zoning commission, if you guys, a citizen disagrees with it, that's what the BZA is for. So if you're gonna go in there and willy-nilly doing stuff, you can be held accountable for that. So, you know, that's the process. But I guess that's my general opinions on all of that, so.
With that being said,
Thank you.
excuse me, with that being said, I move that we appoint Margot to act as interim zoning administrator for the purpose of processing and approving constructions or signing permits as necessary until we can find a permanent one.
Are you willing?
Yeah, I guess my question is, did you wanna do it?
You have time. You have time
Gotta
right
do
now.
it.
Yeah, I mean, we need to carry on. We're kinda stuck, so. But, I would like to be able to ask Susan if there's a way of doing it and I can still vote. Because we have had times, we're down one member now. So if we're down two, we may have some problems.
So is that what you were talking about, Jerry, with the
Yeah,
board and
if-
stuff?
I would assume that if Margot is given the position, then we're down two, or anybody, you know, if it was me or whoever, I'm not gonna do it, but if Margot did it, we'd be down two, which would make it a lot harder for the quorums and all of that. I have no idea if we could legally have her be a voting member and a zoning administrator, I'm not sure. So, because state statutes don't talk about zoning administrators at all, so we're kind of open there. The bylaws don't really, when they talk about, the bylaws don't talk about zoning administrators either, it's only in the actual regulations. So when it comes to, is it legal, I don't know.
So if she's interim zoning administrator, then we need to find a couple more people to put on your,
If she can't hold both positions, we will need two. If she can't hold both positions, we'll need one.
okay, okay. All right,
Might be able to call the secretary and get by with it, I don't know. Need to talk to Susan.
Well, that would need to change some wording with the administrator's responsibilities and stuff within the regulations, but that could be doable, but we would need to make amendments.
Margo, are you willing to do it? That's the bottom line.
I don't mind helping,
Okay, I'll second that motion.
shut
Further
Brandy.
discussion?
Just saying you didn't answer the question.
Any further discussion by the
Can
council?
nominate Brandy.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
I guess I should have, as far as discussion, said we all need to think about someone to appoint to the board.
Right. I think we've kind of been working on that a little bit, and probably not as much as we should right now. Number 14, water line project update. Right?
Does anybody want a big 11x17?
I will. Thank you.
So, as you could probably see a little bit from the map, they were not able to get as much as they kind of hoped, because the map doesn't really look all that much different from the one we looked at 2 weeks ago. A big part of that was weather played into that. Also, the subcontractor who's doing a lot of the water line services, they've only got 2 guys on site right now, so that number is gonna increase and they'll be moving faster. They were able to get everything there on South First done. But yeah, the weather is kind of played a role in that, and from the looks of it, it's gonna continue to play a role in it here over the next 7 to 10 days. Coble Street did get bored, the pipe is ready to be pulled back through. That, the contractor, he actually hit an unmarked fiber optics line that was going into Marion Manufacturing. Wrapped it around his bore head about 300 feet, got ripped off the pole and out of Marion Manufacturing, and it completely ruined his bore head, so he had to buy a new bore head too because of that unmarked line that he hit. So that one also hit a snag there. I believe they were reboring that today just to make sure it's ready to have that pipe pulled back through and doesn't run into any issues when he pulls that back through. But outside of that, the update is essentially what it was 2 weeks ago, and hopefully we can make some progress. So, anybody have any questions?
Just on Elm Street, I see it's blue and orange. What does that represent?
The blue and orange is that, the line is in service, but the services have not been completed to the individual homes on that. So that main has water pressure in it, but there's no service lines tied over to the individual homes.
And that brings up another question. When you hook up the service to the house or the residence, are you gonna pull that can that has the meter in it now? I understand you're gonna move all the meters out to the road or to the street, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you pull the casing around the meter now? Do you pull all that up?
Yes, if the meter's gonna get moved, that can will be pulled, the hole will be filled in, there'll be a new can
For the
pit
street?
over by the street, closer to the
Okay.
street.
All right, well, I was worried about this, having 2 cans in
No,
my yard.
nope.
It'd be a great flower planter.
They don't grow in my yard, Roger, lawn mows them down.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any further questions of council?
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Okay, number 15, any of the councilors wish to?
I do. I see Eric's here today, so I'd like to recognize him for the awards that your paper picked up a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations.
Okay.
I got one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mentioned to the mayor before we got started here today, I think I'd like to see us look at the mask ordinance again. Things are opening up, vaccines are getting, received, our numbers aren't quite where they need to be, but they're getting better. Between us, we thought it was end of June is our mask ordinance
June
now.
30th. But I'm okay with that.
Things are changing quickly, and I'd just like to have that on the agenda as an item to discuss.
That sounds very good. I think it's time to open it up too. Especially since somebody called me out for not wearing one.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
Well,
But I
I
was
was in the
legal.
grocery store once, and I thought, oh, this is.
I guess, if we're willing to just let it expire, do we really need to have it on the agenda, or do you want?
I'm getting a lot of inquiring about, do we need to wait that long?
Yeah,
That's why I'd
especially
like to talk about it.
especially since the CDC
Is it
came out and said you
June,
can't,
end of June?
you don't need to
The
worry.
current ordinance goes through June 30th. Your next meeting will be Tuesday, June 1st, because of Memorial Day. We could have the ordinance, the repeal ordinance back on the agenda for that one,
Okay,
and you could make it effective immediately.
okay.
I think
Okay,
that's
why
a
don't we
good
do
thing,
that
yeah.
then? We'll plan on that. Anything else?
Well, just one more thing, I had a complaint this week about the heavy trucks up there on the project on North Cobalt running over the curbs again. I thought that had been discussed before.
Has been, the vendor's been contacted and told he will not be allowed back in town with his concrete delivery unless he tempers or plates before he goes over the curb. He was
Okay.
informed of that.
All right, thank you.
Saturday night was, as soon as we could find him, they were going back to Wichita.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, department reports. Quentin?
Nothing further.
Okay, Randy?
Nothing further.
Margot?
If anybody wants to help raise flags at the cemetery for Memorial Day weekend, just show up there at 9 a.m. on Saturday, May 29th. It's a good opportunity to teach your kids how to raise flags.
Okay. Thank you, Margot. Tiffany? Roger? Anything further?
Guess you should make a comment about this. You
Yeah,
got
we
one?
probably should, I got one somewhere. I think you're all probably aware that, Marion County Food Bank, has invited everyone to a groundbreaking event, and that's on Friday, May the 21st at 10 a.m. That'd be this coming Friday at 906 East Main Street. And, they're gonna break the ground for the new food bank building, so if you're available, please come and support them. Okay, public forum. Anybody wish to address the council in public forum? There being none.